URC Power Rankings, folks, for round number 7. We're about to delve into a mammoth month of internationals. So the URC will be taking a wee break. Obviously, the games that were played this week just gone without a lot of the international guys who are already with their teams in camp. But we'll go through the last round of action until we get back into the action end of November. But as always, you guys let us know your thoughts. If you're in the States and want to catch all these November games, Flow Rugby, and then the URC continues on after that. So check out the link in the description. Bottom of the log, man. What else can I do? Zebre still here and got flogged. Absolutely flogged by a team that, is usually one that Zebre would eye up for a potential win. They lost 47-7 to the Dragons. So absolutely flogged. They had one try, which involved a nice wee chicken wing offload, but they were down 26-7 at halftime, and it only got worse from there. So, Zebre's season, despite starting off looking on the positive, continues to kind of take a turn for the worse. Scarlets, likewise, against Leinster was probably a tough ask on paper, but then the Leinster lineup was likewise full of a bunch of youngsters too. Although I know Leinster's academy just seems to be a bit of a conveyor belt of top-class players. But to lose 35-5 at home, you probably expected a wee bit better. So these two teams are in the same spot as last week. The Scarlets, to their credit, did have a few moments where they seemed to create something, but then they just couldn't finish anything off. So, just that one try. The Ospreys I have got here in the same spot as last week too. They also lost at home and also to an Irish team. Wee bit closer, they lost to Connacht 22 points to 19. Jack Cardiff drop goal, the only difference between the sides. Maybe lacking a bit of experience. 3 points, the difference is not terrible. But, ideally that's a game where you get a better result than that too. So, those three teams, no change. But there is a new addition to the bottom row, and it is Benetton. So we've got 2 Welsh teams and 2 Italian teams. Benetton's season started a lot better than this, but remembering that they lose a bunch of guys to the Italian squad too. 37-0 though. Poor defence, man. They were already 2 tries down when Rhino Smith clobbered into Miotti, got himself yellow carded, and then there were just more tries from there. So, down 2 spots. It's been a tough few weeks for the guys from Benetton. The next row, Munster, continues on in the same spot of 12th. Munster's start to the season has been kind of poor. They did have a good crowd, seemingly. When they played Ulster, I guess it's a local rivalry, so there's a few more people showing up for that one. But, just the one try. Good to see Zebre in the setup, but They conceded, I think, 3 tries in the first half and just couldn't come back from that far down. So it seems like it's just going to be one of those rebuilding years for Munster, doesn't it? It's been kind of poor, sad to say. The Lions, I've got down 3 spots, which is maybe kind of unfair because their record this season's not been bad. But 31-22, they lose it to the Stormers, who are the reigning champions, so we can't be too harsh on them for that. Hinko van Fake continues to kind of power through. The Lions will look in the business with a 22-10 halftime lead, but they lose at 22-31, so it's harder to win games if you're going to go through 40 minutes without scoring. But, there you go. I don't think it's all too doom and gloom just yet for the Lions. I do think that ranking's a wee bit harsh. The Dragons, goodness gracious me, they are on a wee bit of a run, aren't they? Is that 3 wins in a row? Up 3 spots, man. 47-7 winners over Zebre, like I mentioned. Dangerous from turnover ball, dangerous at maul time. Their forwards, their loosies, like Wainwright and Moriarty getting about. The outside backs, they just set the world alight. So, happy days from Dragons fans, man. You guys must be kind of unaccustomed to this, just quietly. Since I've been following kind of Pro 14 URC, it's not something I've seen that often. So, probably the highest I've ever had these guys in the power rankings. So, long may that continue. Lastly, the last of the Welsh teams, Cardiff. Just when they were kind of looking the business, this is the kind of game that you're thinking, man, if they can beat Edinburgh after a few decent results, maybe Cardiff. No, no, back to losing ways, sadly. Down 3 spots, so 25-17 losers at home to Edinburgh. I mean, Thomas Young still putting his hand up. I mean, he was one of the omissions from the Welsh squad. 17-15 up at half-time, but just like the Lions, no score in the second half, I think kind of comes back to bite the Cardiff boys. So, yeah, still not doom and gloom from them. Sad not to have them in the top half of the table, but that's sometimes what a home loss will do. Glasgow didn't have a home loss, up 2 spots. Glasgow 37-0 over Benetton. Vailanu's first try, goodness gracious me, from his own half. Well, he's a big unit of a man. Saw him playing for Worcester last year and he was just as big. He's not a kind of guy that you think he's going to run 60 metres to score a try. You think he's going to run 6 metres and flatten 6 guys on his way over the line. But nah, man, he just goes and goes. He's got a dummy in there. I don't think the defender really was keen on the tackle. To be honest, yeah, that was a bunch of tries. Cancellieri, Miotti, a bunch of kind of standout players from Glasgow in that one. So pleasing to see they've got a bit of depth when some of their internationals away, because obviously that'll be important later on in the year as well. Connacht have turned their season around. They were all doom and gloom at the start, but maybe they got some of the harder fixtures out of the way early. Up 2 spots, away win at the Ospreys. Jack Carty continues to prove his worth. Connacht's season is improving. So there you go. That was a good game to watch. I mean, it was really tit for tat kind of arm wrestle stuff. It wasn't the most flowing game you've ever seen, but it's really pleasing just to see a guy like Carty doing his thing. So there you go. Connacht up 2. The Sharks, with their loss, sadly down 3, so down from the top row. Remember, they've played, is it 2 games less than everybody else? With some delays, like first game getting caught off with a concert, and then the stomach bugs last week with their opposition. So, yeah, a bit more vulnerable to kind of big jumps. But, yeah, 40 points to 27 losers away in Pretoria. I mean, Potgieter got a really nice try before half-time, which was much needed because they were 16-3 down. They even went in front when I think there was a try from Fussy. Bota Chamberlain set that one up, but yeah, couldn't hang on. The Bulls kind of put them to the sword at the end of the game. So, yeah, Sharks, I still think they could do better. I mean, they're obviously without a lot of players too. Edinburgh up 2 spots. They got that away win at Cardiff. I do think that was kind of a big test for both teams because neither has looked all that bad or all that flash. They've had kind of moments of brilliance and moments of shake your head this season. So that's a good one for Edinburgh to get. I mean, they got a try in less than 10 minutes, some really nice hands. They also made a comeback in the second half despite having a yellow card towards the end of the first. So up 2 spots for Edinburgh. Cardiff, maybe an easy beat last year, but have been on a good run. So for Edinburgh to go there and break that down, I think they did all right. Top row, we've got the Stormers in 4th spot. They are up back into the top row with that comeback away win at the Lions. I mean, when they're behind, their Maul and Marty Libok basically got going. So, yeah, good away win. I mean, the Lions, kind of like Cardiff, even though I've got them kind of low, I don't think they're as an easy beat team as they were last year. The Lions have been kind of pleasing. So for the Stormers to get that comeback maybe speaks to, I don't know, some promising signs for their season, because I don't think the Stormers played their best rugby, but they still managed to get a win away, which is something good teams tend to do. The Bulls are just a different home team from away team, aren't they? The Bulls, man, up a spot, 40 points to 27 winners over a good Shark side. Bit of a battle of the boot early, and then Marcel Coetzee manages to finish off a try before half-time. They had to retake the lead in the second half after being down. I think clearly the best crowd, best attendance of all the crowds in South Africa this weekend. So well done to the folks in Pretoria for getting out there. So yeah, good win over a rival, which is always satisfying. Ulster, you guys are unmoved in second spot. 1 point winners away at Thomond Park. I don't think Ulster had won there. What did they say since 20? Was it 14? It's a long time since they've managed to get a win. One of the teams who did manage to hold on after scoring all their points in the first half. Most of the teams who did that this week ended up losing. But I mean, Ulster's Maul we can call it the Munster. Ulster's maul was pretty good. Got two early tries. They had one chalked off a wee bit later, which they ended up kind of bagging one anyway. They ruled it up for a knock-on by Doak, and then like the next couple of phases they went and scored anyway. So the squeaky bum time with only a 1-point win, but again, it's what the top teams can do. Somehow find a way to win. And speaking of the top teams, don't get much better than Leinster, man. Seriously, a bunch of guys who I've either vaguely heard their name or genuinely didn't know who they were. What do? They stand up, score tries, play really well, man. 35-5 winners over the Scarlets. Leinster. It was interesting to watch some Leinster kind of exports playing for some of the other teams. A couple of them in the Connacht lineup and whatnot. You guys have just got crazy depth. So, first spot, all wins so far. The only team that can say that. Pretty satisfying. But yeah, like I mentioned, we go into the break now, so it's a wee while until we will see the URC teams back in action. But that's kind of good. It allows the teams to focus on on the international games, and the guys who aren't playing can get a bit of rest and recovery, get any niggling injuries out the way. But you guys let us know what you reckon. Where would you be ranking the teams? Can anyone take down Leinster at this point? Last year, this time, probably would have said no. But Stormers ended up winning things, so you do never know. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.